Hi, guys. I'm so excited to talk to you today. Okay, so a little quick note before I'm clearly not at home. I'm at this adorable little beach house down in Delaware with some friends, traveling with my youngest son for lacrosse showcases and lacrosse recruiting. And it's just been an amazing week. And then my co partner here, Elizabeth, is in a really important business conference in DC today. So we're just a little bit outside of our norm, but it's so great to be here with you guys today. Okay, so this is what we're talking about today: 15 flash minutes of really important information that you're going to be able to take to the bank with your business, and I want you to be rethinking and thinking about how you can apply some of these things we're going to talk about today. So what we were chatting about is the difference between scaling your offers and then scaling your sales. What I really want to get to is the scaling your sales part. But for like subject matter experts and course creators and consultants and coaches and niche service experts and authors and speakers and all the people that I coach, the first thing everybody thinks about when we're talking about scaling offers is like, oh, okay, create a course or create a membership. And so let's go ahead and get that brain process out of the way a little bit first for the first couple of minutes. And then we're going to dive into scaling your sales. So there is a difference between scaling your services and scaling your sales. First of all, let's go ahead and define the difference between growth and scale, because most people actually don't know that. So let's just make that really clear. Growth is when you increase your sales, but you're also increasing your expenses, your time. So the sales may be increasing, but maybe you're hiring more staff, maybe you're running more ads. So the expenses are increasing with the sales. That's growth. Scaling is where the sales still increase, but the time and expenses stay the same, if not decrease. That's scaling. So now let's take that decision, right? That understanding, and let's move it over to scaling your offer. So when we work with experts, we want to extract out of your brain what you have normally probably taught in a smaller setting, whether it's one-on-one or maybe you are a service provider that has worked with smaller groups of people at a time. The very first thing, step number one, is we want to scale your services, right? So that means we want to look at your services, look at your programs, look at your IP, and we want to figure out how to tweak it, engineer it differently, turn it into a course, a membership, or even a mastermind, depending on whether or not you are qualified to, run that in your specific area. Also, other types of business models that we use to scale your services are what we call MRRs. It's a monthly reoccurring revenue program. It's not the same as a membership program. We've talked about that on a different live stream. So it's not the same. But really, for the last 3 to 4 years, the majority of programs that we help our clients create is what I call hybrid program design. And it's where we take a combination, a variety of some on-demand, some live coaching, or some office hours, and we actually create a hybrid blueprint. That is the first thing. That's the most important thing, is to take your IP, is to take your programs, and for us to look at it from a business standpoint and determine what is the best model. Okay, so what is the best offer structure to scale it in, the offer model? Once we've done that, though, then, and this is what I want to chat with you about today, then we get to have a conversation about scaling your sales. And this is going to blow your mind. Okay, so before we dive into this, this is usually what people say when they kind of tap into this conversation. Sorry, and like everybody's like, all the kids and everybody are downstairs, so you can probably hear some loud noises behind me. The first one is, I can't believe I can do this. I had no idea this was possible. And my mind is just opened up with the possibilities of what I can do with my IP. Okay. That's what I want you to think after this. So when we talk about scaling your sales versus scaling your offer, we're talking about taking you from a point where you, instead of selling your, let's just call it a course for the sake of this conversation, instead of just selling your course to one person at a time, you're selling it to one person at a time, but hundreds or thousands of people are getting an opportunity to access it. So let's talk about the difference. Most course creators, most coaches, most consultants do what we call a launch mode. I did launch mode back 12 years ago, guys. I hate launch mode. It just doesn't work with my life. It's freaking exhausting. You put all your eggs on one basket. But I have clients that love live launches and they live for live launches. If that's you, it doesn't matter. Whatever you like to do that works with your life. The problem is whether you're do in launch mode, right? Whether you are opening your program once for people to join or it's open all year long, you're still just only selling it to one person at a time, whether it's through a sales page or a webinar or sales calls, whether you have a sales team, there's still one person buying at a time, right? What I want you to realize is that There is an incredible secret weapon where we can sell your program one time, but you get paid for the number of seats that access it. And this is called content licensing. Now, content licensing, most people have never really considered it or even heard of it in the context that I'm talking about when it comes to your courses or your programs or your IP, your content. Okay. Usually you'll think of like stock photos, right? So you can license a stock photo to, download it from whatever, to use on your website. That's certainly one way where you can, where we see licensing, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about creating your course once. Okay. And then selling it. And they actually don't get to own it. They're really kind of like renting it to a organization, to a nonprofit, to an educational institution, to a corporation, or even just other small to mid-sized businesses. That's what we do in licensing. And it is an absolute game changer. And that's what I help clients do after I help them create their course and their program, because the course itself, can't just be any course, guys. It has to be completely proven to be transformational. But I want you guys to now rethink. So if you're watching this and you've created a course, or a program, training program, you know that it works. You have seen people achieve measurable transformational results. Okay. You're really good at what you do. I mean, let's just be honest here. It's just you, me, and I'll show you this view here in a second. I'm just looking out over all this water. If you're not really good at what you do, we can't have a conversation about licensing it to other companies. There are ethical issues with that. Okay. How do we get you good at what you do? How do we test your course? There's ways to do that. And I'm happy to help you do that. I do that with a lot of clients, this testing and traction to make sure that before we license it, that it's proven and measurable and really is a leading program in your space. But those people that are ready to have these conversations, you might need to repackage your material. As a matter of fact, everybody needs to have an opportunity to look at your material and repackage it before we talk about licensing it. And there's some things, really important things and tweaks that we need to do. But you're really good at what you do. And so when we talk about taking your program and saying to another company, hey, listen, I have this program and it's going to fill this certain hole in your company that company, that buyer, that licensee may not actually be an expert at, then we can legitimately say to them, hey, listen, if you want to bring my course into your training program or into your employee benefits or into, your onboarding or whatever it is, these are the results that we know your people are going to achieve through my IP. That's what we do when we talk about licensing. So I just want to have this conversation with you about scaling your sales. Okay. So we've talked again about scaling your offers. We talk about this till we're blue in the face. If you're creating a course or if you want to create a course or a program, I'm happy to help you do that. That's what I do. It's what I've been doing actually for 14 years, you guys. So I would love to help you do that. But then what happens next? You do a good job at that. You've created a good program. What can we do with it next? How can we make you more money with less work? And that is content licensing. Now, one of the things that people ask me all the time is how much money can I actually make? And so there are two different formulas for pricing that we work through when we talk about content licensing. One is actually a percentage of the ROI that we know a company can achieve, and another one is bulk pricing. There is no right or wrong way. It's a conversation that we need to have diving into your IP and your materials and mining for some data in order to come out and confidently price your program for licensing. But let me give you an example. If you have a course and you sell it for $1,000 per person, right? Say you've been doing this, you've had this course and it's normally $1,000 per person. When we license it and we want to license it to a company that wants to distribute it to 100 people, you can do the math, right? And sometimes, yeah, I know you're probably thinking, well, do I give them a cost break? Sometimes, yeah, for sure. Because we're selling more in volume. But this is a game changer, you guys, because if you have been like struggling to do launches, struggling to fill your programs, but you're the best kept secret, you are so good at what you do. Like I said, you're a subject matter expert, you're a niche service expert, you're a coach in a very specific area, or a consultant or a strategist or an author or a speaker, and you're really, really good at what you do. The next step is taking your material, taking your programming and giving you an opportunity to distribute it once to many people. Again, the prerequisites for this are making sure it is measurably transformative. So I'm just going to be really honest. There are a lot of people out there teaching how to create courses. I'm not saying that the way I teach is better. We actually have a methodology called transformational program design, but you can't just like make an outline and just dump your shit in there. It doesn't work, right? Nobody needs more content. They need a transformation. Nobody needs, and actually, frankly, very few people, if you're selling B2B to other entrepreneurs, want to sit there and go through another course, right? So your course really has to be engineered based on what we call transformational program design, and that that it can deliver a transformation based on hybrid program engineering and transformational program design. But what's next is that once you are this, obviously I'm using the word course, it can be membership community, mastermind, training, train the trainer, certification program, whatever you have. But then what happens next is then I want you to realize and I want you to rethink how you're selling it. And this again isn't for everybody, but if that's where you've been and you're ready to go to the next level, I want you to rethink how you can sell it. I want you to think about, and even after this, you can just take like a little brain dump, think about the other businesses that could benefit from your program. Other companies, other businesses, think outside of the box. Let me give you a couple of case studies from clients of mine. One client of mine has a social media program, and her program was licensed by a university. Okay. Now, universities are having a hard time keeping up with the latest in social media. But you guys that are Instagram experts and you TikTokers out there and that know how to use, live video and YouTube strategy, universities want your expertise because they don't hold that. They're not here every day like you are on social media. That's what I want you to imagine. That is one case study. Another case study of mine is a client that she actually just licensed her program, but she's an author and she has an amazing program that's in quite a few different large corporations, and a large international nonprofit just licensed her program as well. And it's all about how to communicate. Her program teaches people how to communicate. So these are the things that I want you to be thinking of. I want you to be thinking of, what is my program, and where, besides just selling it one-to-one, who else in bulk would want to possibly access my material. And the one thing I want you to think of is, how could your IP make what they do even better? Okay. So that's what I want you to think about. I want you to think about companies that you think, how is my area of expertise going to pair and partner with theirs, or what they're already trying to do to help them achieve, and they're talking about the company, help the company achieve their goals faster. So that is content licensing. I'm so excited to talk about it with you guys. And that's what we call scaling your sales. It's a ninja move. I have licensed 8 courses for 14 years. My online courses are in 13 different countries and multiple different healthcare institutions and hospitals. And I had no idea what I was doing. I mean, this is like, I had 3 little babies at home. It was 2008. And it's been an absolute life and game changer for me. And I've been teaching other entrepreneurs how to do this for a decade. So super happy to open up this just different way of thinking for you. And I want you to leave here today with realizing that there are so many other things you can do with the hard work you've already created. So that course or program, there's so many different ways we can sell it now, which is next level. So I dropped a link and a resource for you guys in the chat here. It just outlines 3 different types of content that companies will line up to license for you. You guys can grab that and just send me a DM if you have any questions about this. And I promised you I would show you this view. This cute little beach house. Look at this place. It's so cute. I don't even know if you can see it. Okay, you probably can't see it, but that is the water outside there. So anyway, I hope you guys are having an awesome day, and we'll see you next week. Liz will be back here as well, and we'll be diving in with you again for another LinkedIn Live. Message me if you guys have any questions. All right, have a great week.